Hey y'all, my name is Ann Wyatt. I started my career in workforce development with the state of Kentucky in 2010. That experience ignited a deep passion for manufacturing within me. I started this show hoping to raise more awareness around the bright outlook manufacturing careers have. Join me as I sit down with some of the manufacturing industry's most successful changemakers and learn how they're partnering people with technology. It's time to give people more meaningful work. This is Workforce 4.0. Workforce 4.0. This is your host, Ann Wyatt. I'm here with Lisa today from the ARM Institute, and we are so excited to have Miss Lisa with us because she is over the workforce development there. ARM Institute is doing some amazing work for the robotics field, and so it's so wonderful to have folks like Lisa on the show. But Lisa, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Ann. I'm so happy to be here. Really appreciate the invitation. Thank you.
So I'm fangirling because I am so thankful that you're on the podcast today. This is amazing. For those that are out there that are tuning in today, for whatever reason, and if they're not aware of who you are and what the ARM Institute is doing, we've got to make them aware for sure. Do you want to give them a little bit more information about yourself and ARM Institute and all the really cool workforce development programs you all support?
Absolutely. Thanks for the opportunity. Hi, everybody. I'm Lisa Masciantonio. I'm the Chief Workforce Officer, and the ARM Institute stands for Advanced Robotics for Manufacturing Institute. We are one of 18 national institutes set up as public-private partnerships to really focus on revitalizing manufacturing back in the United States. So each of the institutes has a different charter in the world of advanced manufacturing. So we have the great pleasure of focusing on robotics, automation, and artificial intelligence, all of the cool things that supersede the specialties of the other institutes. So we've got as I said, we're set up as a public-private partnership. So we've got a consortia of about 475 expert organizations. So imagine large manufacturers, small manufacturers, high-tech companies, not-for-profits, government, and a ton of academic training providers. And so it is such a delight that we get to interact with all of those organizations and take the things that they're doing and then get it back out into broad adoption. One of the ways that we do so is we take the federal government's money and we reinvest it. So we are always looking at what is the next generation technology? How do we invest in it? How do we move that needle for the technologies? But my job is to make sure as those technologies are changing, the people skills are changing as well. So many times organizations will buy a robot, they'll make an automated solution, and they don't think, what does my workforce need to do to stay on pace with those technology changes? So I would have to say I've got the best of all worlds because I get to deal with the people and the students and the training providers as well as the technology. So I always say I have the best job on the planet. It's just a great joy.
I love that. And yeah, that is exciting because you work with manufacturers of all sizes, right? All kinds of different products. And, you're able to really guide them and support them and what skills assessments are needed for the future of work. And of course, like that is such a big part of the Workforce 4.0 podcast, right? And really understanding those future skills needs. With the way that federal funding works, what is one of your favorite examples? And this is completely off script today, but what is one of your favorite examples of how you were able to like reshape existing funding to provide guidance for some skills training for the future?
That's such a great question, and it's one of the reasons that I am so fortunate. You can imagine where we sit as a national institute. We want to, and we are sponsored by the Department of Defense. Entities in the 18 are sponsored by Department of Commerce and Department of Energy. We're one of the 8 that are focused on the Department of Defense. And when we take their investment and we put it back into our consortia, we were finding that there are already so many training programs out there, right? And there are so many certifications that are out there that we worked together with our member experts and we said, what is it that we should be doing to help move the needle for you other than creating things that are causing competition. So we have been investing over the last number of years in a platform, a national platform that is free to everybody called roboticscareer.org. And it houses so many good things for education seekers and education providers, job seekers, and employers. And what we've tried to do was standardize the language and demystify the misnomers of how scary it is to deal with automation and what changes are going to have to take place. So we've got everything there is based around a robotic competency framework. And from that, we show people, how do you get through these career pathways? And what would my next step be if my desires and my skills look like this or look like that? We also in there have an inventory of about 17,000 training programs mapping to at least one of those 26 competencies. So we're helping to show people with the knowledge, skills, and abilities all of the standardized languages. So you can imagine for the job seeker and the employer, we're putting a common vernacular together. So we do have a job matching feature in there called Skills Match, where individuals are creating their resume and creating the job description so they're not missing each other in some of these big job sites. And then we've got a user capability for individuals who want to highlight their career changes and their skill changes, almost like a LinkedIn for manufacturing, where they can create their own profile, have their resume ready. And so we're creating all of these common spokes that bring the manufacturing world together. And another really exciting thing happening in robotics career, we just created an AI competency framework with our membership. So over the next couple of months, in addition to the robotics, you're going to see next generation skills evolving around the AI world.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, that's really cool. How exciting.
Yes, it's a really exciting time for us.
Awesome. I love that, Lisa. And I love your passion. We need more workforce development passion in this industry, and you're bringing it. Absolutely.
We do.
I don't know if you're as passionate about our next topic, but we're going to find out here. But Lisa, I don't know how you feel about karaoke. Are you like a big karaoke person?
Well, this is a really, really funny question because I like to say I'm very talented in many ways, but singing is definitely not one of my great big talents. But I love to be at a karaoke venue. I think that they're hilarious. I think they're fun. I think it brings out the best in all of us.
Oh, karaoke is a great. You don't have to be a great singer to
No.
be a karaoke superstar. I feel like personally.
Here's the trick. Here's the trick. Find a song that everybody in the building knows. And as soon as the music comes on, they start singing so loud that no matter how horrible my voice is, nobody can hear it. Move away from the microphone.
That's right.
Yeah. So songs like Dancing Queen or I Got You Babe. Yeah. Those are the songs that everybody in the building is going to sing and they'll take it over for you.
That's amazing. Is Dancing Queen your go-to karaoke song?
That's my go-to. And I am always so bummed when somebody sings it before me. And I'm like, oh, crud.
That's a good one. I feel like that karaoke song is definitely in the karaoke Hall of Fame somewhere.
What's yours? What is your favorite?
Oh gosh. Well, I've been known to sing some Alanis Morissette. I've been known to sing some Lizzo. That was kind of fun. I've sang some Pink in the past.
Love her voice.
That's always fun. I think Zombie is next on my list to try by the Cranberries.
Well, maybe we will be in the same location and I can hear you sing.
Oh, we've got to. That would be so much fun. I would really enjoy that. Yeah, it would. So, that is our official Workforce 4.0 welcome here on the podcast. So I appreciate you you
Love
answering
it.
that. But it seems like this community has a lot of karaoke lovers, by the way. So that may be something that we'll have to do maybe in 2026.
That sounds fantastic. I will find somebody from the Arm Institute with a better voice than mine, but I will enjoy every moment of it.
Absolutely. Yeah. So when it comes to the manufacturing and workforce skills gap, I think there's a lot of skill sets that we're missing. Of course, manufacturing is very different in all different sectors, and like there's niches and there's different processes and everything. But when it comes to the robotics piece of that, where do you think the biggest gap lies?
So, if you look at all of the data that's out there and they talk about the skills gap and how it's growing, how many open jobs there are, and how few workers are getting into manufacturing, that's the obvious answer. But I want to make a plea to start to think about not only getting people in, but making sure we focus on the alignment between the skills that the employers need and the skills that the employees have. A lot of times,
100%.
yes, it's a misalignment that's causing this skills gap. So we have to look at what the root cause is. And I would also say the training perspective, we have to make sure our training providers are aware of what these emerging capabilities are so that they're able to create the curricula as their students are coming through so that those people are job ready, and then we're able to provide some way to match, whether it's through the capability I talked about with robotics career, if it's career guidance through the schools, community-based programs where there's a job matching. So that alignment is absolutely critical. And I would also say one of the things that I mentioned we're trying to focus on is that communications gap. So if a employer puts a job description and it's not something that an individual is calling the same word, they're not going to be able
That's
to
right.
find that job. So I would say it's a variety of challenges all leading up to that big number of open jobs.
Lisa, I love that because I mean it's just the truth of the matter, right? And sometimes I preach about this a lot and I don't know how appreciated it is sometimes, but you job searching is a frustrating process for anyone that is searching for a job. It is not easy. There's a lot of there's a lot of discrepancies in the application process, filters and whatnot that candidates have to overcome. And if you don't have those exact words in your resume, that resume is not going to really be considered. And I think that with hiring managers, we've really got to get them to understand that, when you have candidates applying for your roles, their verbiage is not going to be the same as your verbiage a lot of the times, and being able to navigate around that, and also understand that maybe some of these requirements are not needed, maybe they're desired. And then
Right.
how do we bridge that gap for that employee after they're hired?
And the other key component, in that I would add there, is to differentiate the job description. So if you put in a robot technician and you try to cram all of the common skill sets into one, you're going to be looking for nirvana. And so
Right.
you may have to post 7 or 8 jobs to say, this person is really good at programming. This person understands sensors. This person understands mechanical systems, and then you're able to widen the net, let's say, and get the right candidates for the right jobs.
Absolutely. And that is a great tip. That is a fantastic tip, actually. Yeah, that is frustrating. I mean, not all robot programmers are the same.
Right.
Not all. I mean, and that's so applicable. Like, not all MEs are the same. Not all EEs are the same. Not all QEs are the same. Like especially when you get into like automotive,
Right.
right? I mean, that has to be very specific. And I love that, Lisa. I think you're right on with that.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So I guess what are some of the ways that you lead those conversations with hiring managers that are effective in a way that maybe they are considering changing their process?
That is always an uphill battle. Sadly, a lot of times when organizations think about automating, they don't think about the upskilling process, right? So they're thinking about we're making an investment in this automation, buying this robot, whatnot, and they're not thinking about the workforce. So first of all, it's getting the timing in alignment. Now, the good news, if they are using robotics career, is we have created a process that if somebody puts in a specific desired skill, we automatically in the system will put all of the common knowledge, skills, and abilities that map to that one competency. So if they are looking for somebody, all of the things from somebody's resume that map to one of those synonyms will help them to find the robot or the robot, excuse me, the right person with the robotic
Right.
skills. So that's one way of taking it down. But also it's helping them to understand you may not know that that person is job ready yet. But if they only need one more skill, here's how you might be able to get them on board and then get them job ready if you can't find the ideal candidate. So it's really a new way of thinking of it. It's in the world of manufacturing, people typically aren't looking at the continuous learning, but
Mm,
nowadays it is continuous learning. So it's changing the culture on everybody's side.
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I love that advice for sure. And for companies out there that maybe, how do they know that they can benefit from what services the ARM Institute offers? And then how do they get started with you all?
So the first thing is if anybody who is listening to your podcast is interested in finding out more, we love to talk to anybody, even if you're not a current member. So we'll share my contact information, look at the arminstitute.org website. But one of the best ways to engage with the community at large is to become an ARM member. And it's a very easy process. And as I said, we've got about 475 organizations, and there's 8 or 9 different levels based on what your goals are for the relationship. The good things about the membership: networking. You will be able to work with your peers across all of the different parts of advanced manufacturing. Secondly, we do invest in these projects. So if you're interested, one of the opportunities is to bid on a project and build a project team across our membership. And the other
Hmm.
one is the curated matchmaking. Even if you're not bidding on one of ours and you called us and said, hey, we want to find training from somebody, we can help you find that. If you said, we're looking to understand how to hire, we can help you with that. So those are all benefits to our members. Another way to engage with us, if you aren't interested in the membership, but you are a training provider or you are an employer, a job seeker, training seeker, roboticscareer.org is free to everybody. So you can open up a user profile, you can post a job, you can put your training in there. And it's very easy. It's all self explanatory on the website. So that's another easy way to engage with us and take full advantage of our extensive ecosystem.
Amazing. I love that. And from the job seeker perspective, like what if they're not currently in robotics and they just, they happen to come across the field and they're like, "Man, that looks really cool. I really want to do that." What do you think what would be your in your professional opinion, like what would be their next steps to pursuing a career in robotics? I mean, we always tell them to, obviously check with your training providers, make sure you have the right degree for this role, make sure you have the right, certifications for this role. But, how is there anything else we can do? And is that really paying enough attention to factors like employment barriers.
So all of the advice that you just said is spot on, 100% spot on. And if I can dig a little bit deeper into what you were talking about. So a lot of times somebody finds themselves displaced from a job or disinterested or not seeing upward mobility. And because there are so many new ways to look at advanced manufacturing and different en routes, it again,
Right.
robotics.org has a page that says, here's how you can explore these career pathways. So if you have a knack for possibly, let's call it fixing cars, here
Mm,
I know how to do. I call it this as I fix cars. Well, as I'm fixing a robot, I may call it something different, but the skill set is very aligned, right? And so
right.
you've got so many micro credentials out there right now that there's a tremendous value in your 4-year degrees, your 2-year degrees, your 1-year degrees, your certificate programs. Those all serve a purpose. But some of these very short, rapid training to get a certain skill so that you can at least get your foot in the door, those we're seeing those more and more. So I would recommend go to roboticscareer.org or another pathway site to find out what pathways are desirable, what are the things that I would be doing in these jobs, look at what your current state is, where my current skill set is, and see how to make that bridge. And as I said, we've got 17,000 training programs all across the country. So if you want to find something online or local, it's probably in there.
That's awesome. I love that. I love that you brought that up from like a job seeker perspective too, like the transferable skill sets, because we are always preaching about attitude and aptitude. No one knows what that means though, right? I mean, what does that mean? But you're exactly right. You know, if you like to tinker with fixing things and if you like to work on cars and just mess around with stuff, you're already the majority of the way there. That's a transferable skill set. That's aptitude, right? And the fact that you want to do it is really that attitude piece. I love that, Lisa. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Absolutely. And as far as your own career journey, which is amazing. Again, I think that is so inspiring what you're doing for ARM Institute and, you know, really navigating the workforce of tomorrow. But what is the biggest impact that you hope to make on the future of work and the next generation of the manufacturing workforce?
Well, my goodness, I could spend the next 3 hours talking about the goals and the impacts. What I would say is if we were able to ensure that every person, whether they're a current student, whether they're changing careers, whether it's somebody who's already in manufacturing and they want to see their trajectory forward, we want to be able to show them that there is a clear, accessible pathway to these great jobs focused on robotics and other parts of advanced manufacturing, and see how people can enjoy the benefits of these fantastic jobs. It's no longer the old side of manufacturing that once was. These jobs are awesome, and these are the next big thing for people in our country. So if we can somehow enable people to see those career pathways and start on that journey, I would be a very, very happy person.
I love that. That's awesome, Lisa. That's awesome, right? Manufacturing is cool. This is the way.
Great pay, great benefits, great longevity, and you get to work with the highest of high tech. And it's just, I am so blessed to get to see people in our field move through these careers.
Absolutely. Well, Lisa, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast today. For those listening that want more information on the ARM Institute and the amazing work you all are doing there, what is a good point of contact for you?
All right. So the best way to find me is through email. And as you know, my name is incredibly long. So I'm going to make it easier for you. So if you go to arminstitute.org and go under team, I'm in the first row, Lisa Masciantonio. It's Lisa.Masciantonio at Arm Institute. That's a lot of letters. Your fingers will be cramped, but you can just click on my picture and it'll send right to me. If you're interested
Nice.
in membership, there's a link to membership. If you just have any questions, I would love to engage with all of your podcast viewers.
I love that. Thank you so much, Lisa. This has been an absolute pleasure to have you on the podcast today. For those listening out in the Internet of Things out there, if you all want to connect with Lisa, I highly recommend that you do so. She's a wealth of information and she is an absolute evangelist for this industry and the robotics industry as well. But thank you, Lisa, and we will see you all next time on Workforce 4.0.
Thanks, Ann.